Hello and welcome to Cinemondo with Kathy and Melanie. Melanie, you can find her on her channel at Pardaisy Reviews. So good. Now she's been mentoring me and finding the best and the boldest Indian films and a lot of SRK, which I had not seen before. So I'm getting to see all the good ones.
Yep.
The other one, this is the other one I love catching up with, Fahadh Faasil, who's become one of my most favorite of all time. Definitely one of my favorites. He always brings something new and fresh. He's just like that actor who he's not just like posing or looking good or being that. He's like in it doing something usual or unique. So this time we're doing Bangalore Days, which I'd heard a lot about because it also two people in this that are like in the same movie.
I know.
Dulquer Salmaan.
Yeah, when we were discussing last week, and I was like, well, we could talk about this, or we could talk about this, and then I mentioned, well, there's this one that has both Dulquer and Fahadh Faasil. She's like, stop.
I was like, both? I know, she's like, there's this Dulquer Salmaan film called Bangalore Days. I'm like, all right, that sounds good. It also stars Fahadh Faasil. What? Anyway, why did you hold that back? Those two actors, they movie just gonna blow me away now. Oh my god! So I was very excited about that. So this has been hearing a lot about this movie. People have been requesting it, and I was like, I would like to see more Dulquer Salmaan because I haven't seen a ton of his yet. He's another new discovery, and it's nice to see him in something like this. He was almost more of an ensemble cast character. He wasn't like the big star. I mean, actually, this whole movie was that.
The whole movie is an ensemble.
Yeah.
And in my origin story of seeing this film is that I introduced Kathy with OK Kanmani to Dulquer. and that was the first one that I saw, which is a Tamil film. Everybody knows Mani Ratnam. And then I'm like, okay, who is this guy? I need to watch one of his films. And at that time, all of his films were in Malayalam cinema because that's where he got his start. So this is how old school it was. I literally ordered from India 2 DVDs,
wow.
Ustad Hotel and Bangalore Days. And so I watched Ustad Hotel first, which coincidentally, the writer-director of Bangalore Days wrote the script for Ustad Hotel. Okay. And that had, he was co-starring also with Nithya Menon, who has a cameo in this film. Okay. And so this is written and directed by Anjali Menon. And this film introduced me to basically most of the, what is called the new gen actors. And Anjali Menon is part of the new gen movement. So basically, like, there's the old school, there's the Mammootty, there's the Mohanlal, and there's all those directors.
Yes.
And then comes in this new generation of writer-directors, of actors, this new generation. So this film was from 2014, and it's totally appropriate that we're talking about it this weekend because Dulquer just turned 40.
Like, wow. And I heard that you have a little special relationship with Dulquer.
I wished him on his birthday because of the last few years he's wished me on my birthday, which is on Twitter, which is insane.
But anyway. Damn cool. And he remembers every year, which is so adorable.
Well, I do remind him, but yeah.
Yeah, but still, he doesn't have to. He couldn't even be looking at Twitter that day. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
But
I really admire this writer-director, Anjali Menon, but I do have to say this is my favorite of her films. Okay. She hasn't done that many. And I'm like, get writing, get directing, lady, because I want to see more. Okay.
Why isn't she writing and directing? What's happening?
I don't know. But anyway, so this has an incredible cast. This is an incredible cast.
Yes.
So as we mentioned, it's about 3 cousins, okay? And so Dulquer is just part of this ensemble. He plays Arjun, kind of the black sheep cousin. Yeah. Then there's Niven Pauly, who I absolutely adore, plays the cousin Kutan, who just wishes he could just be a farmer like his father, in rural Kerala. And instead, his mother is pushing him to become a software engineer and go to Bangalore. And then we have Divya, who is played by Nazria. And so most of the kind of the action we're introduced is that her parents are arranging her marriage to Das, played by Fahadh Faasil. So
he was no fun at all. None.
No.
This was like the worst case scenario for her because she was this free spirit. She was so cute. She was so many great observations and just had her own ideas, and she was a great character. And they introduced her to this guy who's just like, I'm not into it either. Yeah.
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 And they're kind of forced into it. And he's like, ugh, gonna marry this stupid girl. Ugh. And so he treats her so badly because and it's not from just neglect. Like, it's not like he's beating her, but he was like just being mean to her, dismissive, never home, like kind of making demands or she do this and do that, just not thanking, just being terrible, terrible. And this was for most of the movie. And I was like, and I'll say when I first started watching it, I had not registered. Like I knew, but I wasn't thinking about it. So I'm watching the movie and, this character comes on screen and he's such a big bummer and he's got the glasses and he's super
nerdy,
all like super nerd. And I'm like, oh yeah, the guy looks kind of familiar. I was like, and all of a sudden there's a moment. I think it must be an eye shot or something where he like looks toward the camera. And I'm like, holy shit, this guy is Fahadh Faasil. Just so it's over. I don't know how I missed it, but
he's so different. He's so
different.
He's so dimmed on purpose. He's so dimmed down.
He did. It was just like
he's so dimmed down and just he's so flat. Like his character is just so flat, not giving any emotion, just dead inside.
Yeah.
That it's not the Fahadh Faasil that we're used to. This was my very first Fahadh Faasil film. Like I had no idea. And like you say, you hate him.
He is not good. No.
You hate him.
He's
How
just
can you do this to this cute girl and all she wants to do is make friends with the neighbors and you kicked them all out and wouldn't let her make friends.
It's not cool at all. Like he's been a really terrible person. She's super unhappy and it's just heartbreaking to watch that because she's in this marriage going, I cannot get this guy to give me a time of day. What is up? Like he just will not dress her in any way.
With the secret locked room? Like what?
Yeah,
is the
creepy,
secret?
right?
Now
like,
to give his character Das credit, he does in the meeting scene before they get married, he says, I love someone else. I'm not sure if I'm over it.
That's right. That's right.
So
he was honest.
He was honest and upfront. He wasn't just, but she thought at least like we can be friends. We can be, like she wasn't expecting complete shutdown and to have to anything that really expressed her personality, like for instance, decorating their apartment and I love the shot of like she's sort of painted on translucent paint like butterflies on their window and he mocks her for that. Like just use paper. What are you doing? And then one morning he wakes up and this colored light is from the sunrise is bathing his face and he's just like, oh, this is beautiful. Like just finally he opens up and and like later in the film, you see that he looks and he admires how he has lived in this apartment for years, didn't know any of the neighbors and how she is connected with everyone in the complex and just her vivacious personality, irrepressible. Like, so anyway, I just love that it's not often you get like a movie about cousins and they're almost like, they're so close. They're almost like brother and sister. Bond, but it's really this coming of age for all of the characters because each of them are going through their own relationship struggles, their own life struggles, and having to grow up. That young adult phase of going from living at home or dealing with who am I, what do I want to do with my life, right? So, and I didn't mention also another main character is RJ Sarah. It's played by Parvati. I love that actress very much. She's done other movies with Dulquer. And then Meenakshi, who plays this stewardess that Niven Pauli's Kutan encounters. She's played by Isha. And so I didn't get it, but like crowds were going wild because they had done a romantic movie previous to this.
Oh, okay.
Tatatan Marietto, if I'm pronouncing it right. So they had done a romantic movie previously. So that's why it was just like bringing the two of them together again. But he ends up marrying a Caucasian girl who is like studying dancing and is, really into Indian culture. So like the whole movie ends up being that he's narrating his whole story of his cousins to his new bride. So
it was very cute. It was kind of inside. It's a meta a little bit. Yeah, that was very cool. And I also, so we have, and varying degrees of maturity are happening too, because, she's she marries this guy, which is, okay, you're out of the house now, you're married to this guy. So she has to kind of address being on her own in a way that the others haven't yet. And she's also in this terrible, neglectful marriage, and she's really unhappy. And, so that happens. Then we have Dulquer Salmaan. This just made me laugh. His big dream, this dirt bike thing, which I'm like,
motocross, yeah. Well, Dulquer in real life is all about cars and motorcycles. So I'm sure this is a dream.
Well, there's motorcycles, and then there's motocross and dirt bike. So it's like, so I'm watching this going, no wonder your family's not taking you seriously. You're looking kind of like a big dork out there doing this. But we find out later it is a kind of big deal there. So then you find out actually Fahadh Faasil has some history with this also, kind of comes full circle.
The big reveal. Yeah.
I know. In the meantime, he's kind of in this dream world of like, I'm gonna be famous and I'm gonna, do this, and then I'm gonna find a girl in my dreams. I can hear her. She's a DJ. I can't wait to meet her. Like he fixates on this one woman, and he finally like, I'm going to pull the big move. I'm going to make the big grand gesture. I'm going to go to her workplace, which is super creepy. I'm going to surprise her. And he goes in there, and it's the big reveal. It's this beautiful woman who's a DJ. And all of a sudden he realizes that she's in a wheelchair. Yep. What? And he's like, he has to take a beat. And he's like, I'm going to back away for a second and think about this. So he just has to think about it, which I think was a realistic reaction to something like that. But she's so cool. Like she's this great, very, intellectual, super smart, like very confident. And, she's not taking any shit. Like I love how she's confronting him. Why are you following me? I'm not following you. Oh, you're not really? You're not?
Yeah. You weren't on the bus with me just now. Yeah.
You're on the bus. No, I'm going for your friend. And she's like, so I like that she totally calls him on this shit. That was really funny. So I enjoyed that. And I kind of liked how that relationship kind of started developing because you really liked her, and even though I felt like, this sounds terrible, I feel like she could do better. But I mean, we were supposed to like him, and he was like a puppy dog. But it was like, he's Dulquer Salmaan.
I agree with you. You sort of think, she could.
He's not a serious person.
Okay, but they're both at a disadvantage, right? Like because in the marriage mart, like her mother is just focused on doing the best for her daughter, which I actually love that she was like, okay, we're getting a scholarship, we're getting you to Australia where it'll be easier for you and your wheelchair. Like her, her mother was not keeping her home and trying to dim her light at all.
No.
But what the subtlety that you may not have picked up on is that it is a huge big deal. Like everyone was looking down on Arjun, Dulquer's character, because he is separated from his family. He's from a divorced family.
Yep.
And so who would speak up for him? So you see how Fahadh Faasil's Das character makes that introduction at the end to his mother and like showing him, yes, he does have family support and I'm going to speak for him. And let's move forward on a marriage discussion because he had no one. Like he was estranged from his father. His mother evidently had remarried. Yeah. And so that's a huge big deal that who's going to introduce, who's going to, broach this marriage thing. And so he was and you could see at the wedding of Divya, everyone was looking down on him also because he's from that divorced family. He's why is he here, that was, and so everyone looked down on him because of his family situation. When he takes Sarah home one night and realizes that also her father was in the army, that they were staying in army
that's right,
he was like,
and he looked and he went, oh no, they're not gonna like me here. Nope, not gonna work. Like he was got very bummed out by that. And that was that. But I also liked how the mother, in a way, like I was sort of reading it too. You're right. That was something I didn't consider. She sees this good looking guy coming in and she's like, you are not going to derail my daughter right now. Like she saw him as like, do not do this if you're not like she's like, you're just messing around. You're not being serious. You're going to make her like derail all her plans. Maybe not go to the school, like this sort of fly by night. Like he presents as a sort of, flight. So she's like, and she could see her daughter like falling for it. And she's like, So I like that she kind of went to him and went, no, not if you're going to be this. No, you got, no, not with my daughter. You're not. And she was really
just like, if you really love my daughter, so he backs off, which crushes Sarah.
Yeah, it was sad.
Because the mother has like you know, exactly what you said. Don't derail my daughter's plans. Don't, you know, don't derail what opportunities she could have.
And it did present like that because I mean, she was on her way and he was there. Like, what did he have to offer her? Like, I'm looking at like strictly as a mother going, oh my God, this is like this. And you see him, he's super good looking. He's very charming. He looks like a barrel of laughs. He's gonna be really fun, but is he going to be worth like ruining her whole life over? But it turns out he's more than that. And that was what was so great. He wasn't just that, you know? So that was kind of cool too. I like that they both kind of learned that about each other. So that was kind of a nice moment. But yeah, you were talking about how Fahadh Faasil but finally becomes kind of the hero in a way. But so here we are.
God. Oh my God, the tattoo reveal scene. Were you dying? Like when that happened the first time I saw this movie, I was on the floor. Like,
I know, it's like, what is happening? I know. I was like, oh, did not expect this. So yeah, so through the whole movie, you're flirting him off. You're like, he's a jerk. Get out of this marriage. Like I was like, this is the worst Fahadh Faasil movie ever. I was like, oh, I don't like it. So you have that. So 3/4 of the movie, he's just unredeemable, terrible. And then she finds the room, right? We start figuring it out. We start hearing
there, and you could just see he's had this great love. How can I?
She sees him unlike we've never seen him. She's never seen him like this, like smiling. Him cuddling and happy, and they have a puppy and they're having fun. And she's like, who is this guy?
I've never seen him smile. No. And then you're just like, oh my God. Right?
It was so sad, this like tribute, like the sealed off like shrine to the love of his life who died because of him, and technically, which was
in an accident. Yeah.
In the motorcycle that all the parents were like, stop getting on this motorcycle, it's not safe, stop doing it.
Weren't you every time you're saying the guy has the helmet on and the girl that's riding with him has no helmet? I'm like,
I was like, ugh. And every time they show, she's all got her arms up and she's flapping around. I'm just like, oh my God, it was just stressing me out.
Yeah.
I was on a motorcycle one time and I was in a little wreck on a motorcycle, where it took a turn and slid out and everything. Terrifying. And that was the last time I was ever on a motorcycle. Didn't get any serious injury, but it was like, this is not a safe vehicle. This is not a good idea.
Yeah, I've only ridden on a motorcycle once, and I agree with you. Like, I can understand the appeal, but
I love how they look. I love the whole vibe. I love everything about it, except actually getting on one. I don't like it.
No appeal to me, but I mean, so when you see, there's one scene where Fahadh completely loses it. He's in a taxi, we assume coming from the airport or something.
Yeah.
And he sees his wife with no helmet on a motorcycle with her cousin Dulquer, and they're just like you say, her arms or whatever, you know, and they're racing or whatever, and he just makes the cab chase after them and block them. And he just grabs her and puts her in the cab, throws her phone out the window. He's so mad.
Yeah. And you're like, what?
And you're like, I mean, you're just like, this is the worst ever. This is the worst person ever. He's so controlling. This is like, he's impinging.
You won't even let her have fun.
Right. And then later you learn why he's so triggered by seeing her on the motorcycle. It's because of him being on a motorcycle and his girlfriend like, no, let's just go through the light.
Go through the light.
And they have, you know, you just hear this crash, and the love of his life died because of a motorcycle crash. And so so then, like, yes, was an extreme, but it's like, I just love the reveal of his character, you know, over time. And you're like, okay.
I know, then you get a whole new read. You're like, the whole thing, he was just racked with pain. So he, of course, he like kept it all closed because he's like, never again. I'm not going to care about a woman again. I'm not going to be vulnerable emotionally.
Also, he's not feeling that he's deserving of happiness.
That too. It's I don't deserve it.
Yeah, you know, right.
But I also think he really isn't over her. He's not over it.
He's not. He's not. And the guilt that he feels towards her parents, who totally blasted him, and you can see he gave up all of his friends. He gave up the motorcycle racing that he loved. He gave up all of that and completely became this, you know, office nerd, workaholic.
Yeah.
And then just finally, after probably his parents, you know, because he never married Natasha, his parents just pressuring him, like, come on, you're this age, you need to get married. Yeah. And so he agrees to it, but he's, like you say, he's not going to open his heart. He's not going to go there again.
No, he doesn't want to. I mean, so much. So then you're seeing him closed off because he doesn't want to be hurt again. He doesn't want to, you know, so that was, and he wasn't over her, you know, and for good reason. She seemed awesome. I mean, I was like,
he doesn't seem to realize how much he's hurting.
Yeah.
Divya, though, by his actions. He's just sort of like, hey, we're just sharing this apartment together. And I just don't think he realizes how much he's dimmed her light. And so, like, I mean, he does what seemed irredeemable at the beginning, like the path of we're just like,
like, all of a sudden it's like, that poor man. It's like, it's so sad. And then I love how she goes to the parents. And they're like, get out, no. And she's like, please let him come. So that scene where he goes to see the parents again, it was so painful. Oh my God. And then you see the dog, it's all grown up. It's kind of like replace the daughter, like it's the last thing they have left. Oh my God. It was just so intense. Oh my God. It was such a great scene. And so that's what I loved about it. Like Fahadh Faasil again played this character, and I love this actor. And I'm like, oh God, his character. I hate this. You know, and then all of a sudden at the end, that character became a whole different person, a whole different coping mechanism. All of a sudden became emotionally complex, where he just seemed like he was just being a dick. You know, so all of a sudden you're like, oh, he's not just that. He's like, he's actually like a really good person who is so racked with guilt and pain that he cannot deal with anything right now. I cannot.
Yeah.
So I love that he just lost himself in work, gave it all away, gave everything up because it just was too painful to even look at, you know. So that was awesome. I mean, he did again, as always, did all the heavy lifting in this movie. I mean, Dulquer Salmaan, I don't feel like he'd had a huge character arc. I mean, not like, you know, he kind of like
the same. I mean, I think there is somewhat equal weight to each cousin's story.
Yes.
But I feel like the one that really resonates, that you really come away thinking about, is Das and Divya.
Yeah.
And interesting trivia note for you. I think this was the first film that Fahadh and Nazria, the actress who plays Divya, did together, and they are now married.
Oh, really? Oh my God, I love that. It's even a happier ending.
It's an even happier ending.
That's so sweet. Because there's definitely chemistry. And that's why whenever he'd walk out, you're like, dude, what are you doing? You just gotta going to work now. It's like, no, don't go to work. Stay home.
Yeah.
That's really funny. So, I love that. That's great. That's great.
And they have a production company together. They have been, like, at least the other film that I can think of, they had a very strange relationship in a movie called Trans, where he plays sort of like this evangelical kind of preacher kind of character.
I saw the trailer for that.
I mean, I'm not saying it's the greatest movie ever, but of course Fahadh gives an amazing performance.
He looks very like unlike I've kind of seen him before. I saw the trailer and it was like he's so like flamboyant and like what? Like he's really so like, you know, intricate and emotional and very like layered. And this is just like just totally like putting it all out there. So I kind of want to see it just for that. I mean, I have no love for evangelists.
There's these mirror scenes where he's pumping himself up to be this person. Right. And those are amazing as well. So it's completely, worth watching, just as always, for Fahadh's performance. But yeah, I do think it's wonderful that these two actors connected and became real life married couple.
I love that.
And I also love that they, like I said, do this amazing production company together and make really interesting films.
That's the dream, you know. You find your life partner and you go into business with each other and do some showbiz. I mean, it's like the perfect life.
But basically, this movie ensemble cast is basically most of the young stars of Malayalam cinema all in one movie together.
That's true.
So from watching this, I went in I was like, this Niven Pauly guy playing Kutan. He's kind of cute. What else has he done? Right? So then I mentioned the film Pramam, which means love. He did that with Sai Pallavi. It was a huge hit. Niven doesn't look like that little young man anymore. And so he's kind of in a struggling part of his career right now. But he's done action movies and he did, I mean, he's done some really good work, but he's got evidently, I'm blanking on the name of it, but he's got a heist film coming up this fall. So I'm looking forward to that. Somebody sent me the poster for that. I don't think there's any teaser trailer or anything, but it looks really fun. Cool. Other fun trivia about this film, they tried to organize a Hindi remake, and they wanted Dulquer to reprise his role again. And it's like, why would I do this role over again?
Yeah, it is weird. Why don't you do a sequel instead of a remake? That would be more interesting to see him older.
Well, most Indian audiences, like the different languages, they don't watch with subtitles. They want to see with their own. If it's a good story that's a proven hit, they'll remake it in another language. So
yeah, they have done that a lot.
Stars that you recognize. So there was a Tamil remake of this film. Oh. And you're going to, there's an actor that you will recognize that played the Fahadh Faasil role.
Okay.
Rana Dugabati from Bahubali, the villain from. What? Can you imagine? I have never seen it, but now
he'd be scary in that. He would be scary. Can you
imagine how intense he would be in those? Like
that would be like Fahadh Faasil was kind of like. He didn't seem threatening. He just seemed like he was being rude. Where this guy would feel like, yikes, get out of here.
I know, because he's so tall too. I'm just imagining. But some of the like Parvati, I think, revised her role. The Caucasian woman that played Michelle, like she was in it again. Okay. So some of the same.
Interesting. Okay.
Some of the actors did reprise their role because in South cinema, like people go to different languages anyway. But anyway, and then Arya plays. I think he's Dulquer's role. You're not even familiar who that is. But anyway, I'm sort of interested in seeing it now, especially just to see Rana and how he did with this role.
Yeah, I would like to kind of be fascinating. Can he seem vulnerable or just like really scary bully? Like it could go either way.
Yeah, because it could be a lot, like you said, there could be like more of an era of air of menace rather than just neglect.
Yes,
I don't know. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Point. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and but I imagine that tattoo reveal would be pretty awesome.
It might be worth it just to get to that scene.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I might have to check that one out. We'll just review. We'll do a scene reaction on both these. Compare scenes. Oh, we're doing it. We're gonna do a comparison of the tattoo reveal in both of these films. It's gonna go on books.
But another like weird American connection is that the music was written by Gopi Sundar, and he was actually sued by Bryan Adams because that Bangalore song being too close to Summer of '69.
Well.
So I don't really hear it, but
maybe as a musician, you'd notice a chord progression is kind of I don't know.
I don't know. I don't really.
Oh, Bryan Adams, get a life.
I don't really hear it, but I mean, and there was another song or something that somebody else said that it was a copy of an American song. I'm like,
it sounds like a pylon. I don't know.
But anyway, this was a good introduction because so many of these actors and actresses are new to you. Yeah, and most of them are some of my favorites, So I'm like, Dulquer did an amazing film with Parvati, who played RJ Sarah. It's called Charlie. So, and Niven Pauly. So yeah, they really gave this vibe of closeness of cousins. Like they really
did
captured it. And we haven't talked about the one song at the wedding song, Mangalyam.
Oh yeah.
Now, it is one of my favorite Indian movie dance songs ever. And part of the reason why is because the director, Anjali Menon, purposely told them don't practice too much because she wanted it to feel natural.
That's funny.
Like cousins that just started dancing.
That was
and
really
so,
fun.
I mean, obviously they had blocked out certain things, but you can see they're not completely synchronized.
Yeah, it was cool.
But it does just have this energy of, we're cousins at a wedding. We're just going to have fun.
We're having fun.
I interrupted you. You were putting up the poster.
We got to see the cousins, so it kind of did apply. You get to see. This is interesting too because we just show the cousins in the poster, even though they have Fahadh Faasil in this. They did not put him in the poster, nor did they list him.
Right.
But this looks like it might be a newer poster. I don't know if it's a re-release or something, but it feels very slick. I mean, I don't know how old this movie is.
Well, this movie is from 2014. So I think
it might be the right poster.
I think this is an original poster.
Yeah, maybe it is. I love the colors. I love that they brightened up all the colors. And then they did a color option with a little more detail. We got the puppy in it, but we got no Fahadh Faasil still, even though they have his puppy in there.
Yeah. I will tell you. So I mentioned to my friend Catherine, who you've seen on my channel.
Yes, she's awesome.
She saw this film in the theater when it released, and she said that her audience all started cheering when Fahadh came on screen. So he was already a big deal. Like, I had no idea, right? When I'm watching, this was my first time seeing it. But she said he was already such a big deal that when he came on screen, he got like, he's just coming on as his nerdy self, and he got this big cheer from the crowd.
I love it.
I thought that was fascinating. But you're right. He's nowhere in the marketing. And nowadays, if he was in a film, you better believe he would be on the poster, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, if this was an American film, they would never not show, Brad Pitt if he was in the movie, even if he was the bad guy, even if it was about these. And I admire that this is the story of these three cousins, but they do have a star in the movie. So I don't know. So that was, I admire the commitment to the story. And they made this poster. Then we have a little, maybe see if there's more information in this one. Okay, there he is.
Okay, there he is. Yeah.
And the horizontal, they bring a lot more cast into. We have everyone.
Okay, and it's also interesting because they have Parvati in the scene of her being on the park bench,
yeah,
but it doesn't reveal the big thing that she's in a wheelchair.
Yep, no spoilers in this.
Right.
And we don't even know that woman's a stewardess.
Right, right.
So there's that. And then, the puppy, of course. I love when they put a dog in a poster. It always makes me happy. But I love how they brightened up everyone's pants. They colorized everyone's clothes a lot brighter, and they made it definitely going for the comedy, ensemble comedy vibe, which it does have a little bit of that, but it mostly is a lot more intricate and emotionally deep than that. So I like that.
I also love that Nivian's mother, like his character Kutan, can't wait to go home to Kerala on the weekend and be in his home place on the farm. And then when his father takes a run for it, it goes to Goa. They can smell on the letter he sends home.
Yes, like, I know what this is. I know where he is. I can smell it. That was so funny.
But his mother's reaction, instead of being crushed, like, what am I going to do? Yeah. She's just like, finally, I can escape this hell.
Yes,
and you can just look on Niman Pauli's face as Kutan, like, what? Like, this is paradise. And his mother is like, how many channels do you have on cable? Your father would get cable. Like,
I like when she gives her the remote when they move. He's like, how many channels do we have? 100? 100! Like, she's so thrilled to be in like this place that has running water and like 1 million channels on the TV, and it has. But like,
just order a pizza. It'll be order some for everybody.
That's so good. I know, and I'm sitting there going, it does look pretty nice on the farm, I have to say.
I just loved, like, it just like broke his brain, right? Because to him there was just this idolized home is best, this family being together on the farm, and his mother. All this time he's realizing his father was feeling suffocated in the marriage and couldn't wait to run away, and his mother was feeling suffocated being on the farm and couldn't wait to escape. And like, that just kind of broke his brain. Like, wait, I just thought this was paradise, and I thought my parents loved it here, and what?
It was Green Acres. It's like, she wants to be in the city, he wants to be on the farm. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. I know. So I love that. There were a lot of little micro stories inside this. We had the main thorough, the main narrative, but then we had a lot of cool little side stories. They didn't waste their side characters. Like, they actually mattered to the narrative, and then they gave them a little full-fledged moments. Even just the woman's mom, like we were talking about, who's trying to protect her, she didn't have that much time on screen, but that was a very very cool incentive to add by having the protective mom. But she wasn't being like, no, you're not good enough. She was like, you better be serious, and also she's going to do this. So get used to that idea. It's like, I like that was very, very cool. So they didn't waste any little tiny side character, which was really good. Gave the women a lot to do, which I really liked.
So this is such a feel-good movie for me to rewatch. This was a joy to rewatch again. I don't know how many times I've seen this film, but I definitely have introduced it to a number of people because it's just kind of like, it gives you a flavor. This is what's special about Malayalam cinema, right? Like, it's great writing. You have all these great actors. It's a fun ensemble piece. It's kind of rare in Hollywood to have a true ensemble like this, where you would have all these, everyone kind of having equal weight, right? Like, I guess that's why it makes Ocean's 11 and those movies special, right? It's like having all of the stars in one movie together is really special.
If you're gonna have George Clooney in your movie, don't put him on the poster. That's a bold move. I'm just saying. I know, it's so silly. So definitely stay tuned for our soon to be release scene comparison of the tattoo reveal. We're doing it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna find it and we're gonna do it. It's gonna happen. It's time we do some scene reactions, I think.
I like that idea. I like that
it.
idea.
It's
So
awesome.
anyway, I've had such fun introducing some of these Malayalam cinema movies to you. I know you're a big Fahadh Faasil fan, but like I said, Niven Pauly also has some great films, and some of these actresses, of course, are awesome as well. So in the comments, let us know what else has Kathy not watched that you're like, Kathy, how can you not have watched this yet?
And there's a lot. There's a lot I have not seen. I've seen a lot. I mean, pretty much that's what I watch. You should see my Netflix now. Everything comes up. It's all Indian suggestions now. It's like, and I'm like, oh, that does look good. I'll watch that. But I need to have recommendations. Melanie's doing a lot of the heavy lifting, you guys, and she's telling me all the stuff to watch. It's your turn to tell us, and then we'll discuss it. We'll give you credit.
Have you seen anything with Prithviraj yet?
I don't know. Let's assign it.
I have to think about that. But I mean, I know you're a fan of Mammootty. Yes. And I know I've introduced you to some Mohanlal, so some of the classic films, but and definitely we need to do a little bit more Niven Pauly because there's some really good gems there.
Definitely that. So after the scene review, the tattoo reveal stuff we do, we'll get on some more movies. We're gonna get on that next, and then we'll also see some other movies. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in, and be sure and put your suggestions in the comments, and be sure and visit Melanie's channel, Pardaisy Reviews, and Twitter, YT, and Thread, and whatever it's called. Just find her. It's there. Okay. Bye.
Bye.